Let's analyze gold chart. This is XAUUSD weekly chart. Price is in long uptrend, making higher highs, higher lows, making a high at 5,600 level. From there, gold started correction, making lower lows, lower highs. So, overall weekly chart is in uptrend. Now, move on to daily chart. You can see price is in clear downtrend, making lower lows, lower highs in sequence. But as we can observe, price just broke the recent swing high, which is lower high of downtrend, and then candle closed above the downtrend swing high, indicates there might be change of trend is possible. The US Treasury's decision to increase long-dated Treasury buybacks caused a sharp fall in long-term yields and weakened the dollar. Recent US inflation and labor data have reduced expectations of an immediate Fed hike. Even though the July FOMC minutes contained hawkish concerns, markets still see a relatively high probability of the Fed holding rates in September. So, overall daily trend is shifting from downtrend to uptrend. Now, let's see 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart is in strong uptrend, making higher highs and higher lows, indicates a strong uptrend. Now, let's identify support zone nearby location, which is 4408 to 4448 level. Let's see WTI USD daily chart. Price is clearly bearish structure, making lower highs, lower lows, indicates daily chart is in downtrend. US crude inventories increased by 4.4 million barrels, reaching 428.8 million barrels, around the 5-year average for this first time of year. Demand is also a concern. The IEA expects global oil demand to decline by 1.6 million barrels per day in 2026, partly because high fuel prices and the Hormuz disruption are hurting consumption. Let's see 4-hour chart. We can clearly see prices in downtrend making lower highs and lower lows. Now price reached important levels downtrend swing high. If price breaks that bearish swing high, we can see a transition. Right now, it's still in a downtrend. Let's see key levels. The nearest resistance zone located at 86.64 to 88.65 level. Now let's analyze the EURUSD chart and combine the fundamentals with the technical picture. Starting with the daily chart. Price is currently in a bearish market structure, making a sequence of lower highs and lower lows. So as of now, daily trend is bearish. But when we move down to 4-hour chart, the picture changes. The 4-hour chart is currently in a strong bullish structure, making higher highs and higher lows. So we have an important situation. Daily is bearish, but H4 time frame is bullish. This means the lower time frame is currently showing strength against the broader daily trend. Now let's bring in the fundamentals. The US Treasury recently announced that it would at least double its long-dated Treasury buyback operations from a maximum of $2 billion to at least $4 billion per operation. The announcement initially pushed long-term Treasury yields lower and weakened the US dollar. EURUSD responded by moving towards the 1.17 area, with the euro reaching around 1.171 area. The Fed side is also important. Recent US inflation and labor data have reduced expectations of an immediate rate hike. Although the July FOMC minutes still showed concerns about persistent inflation and the possibility of further tightening if inflation remains elevated. So, fundamentally, recent dollar weakness is currently providing support for EURUSD. But remember, EURUSD is a relatively value pair. It is not enough for the euro to be strong. We also need to see whether the US dollar remains weak. Now let's identify our key support levels. The first support zone I am watching is 1.1549 to 1.1579 level, and the second support zone is 1.1453 to 1.1476 level. Now let's analyze Bitcoin and combine the fundamental picture with the technical structure. Starting with the daily chart, we can clearly see a potential trend change. Previously, Bitcoin was in a bearish structure, making lower highs and lower lows, but price has now broken above the previous bearish swing high and moved higher. This is an important structure development. It doesn't automatically mean the daily trend has completely changed, but it is an early indication that the bearish structure is losing control and a bullish transition may be developing. Now let's bring the fundamentals. The US Treasury recently announced that it would be at least double its long-dated Treasury buyback operations. The announcement pushed long-term yields lower and helped improve risk appetite, contributing to Bitcoin's strong rally above $70,000. Bitcoin reached around 71,500 on August 20. This creates a potential supportive macro environment for Bitcoin. Institutional demand is also improving. US spot Bitcoin ETFs recorded around $189 million of net inflows on August 19, following another strong inflow session. BlackRock's IBIT accounted for the majority of that day's inflow, so ETF flows are another factor supporting the bullish argument. There is also a regulatory catalyst. President Trump has pushed Congress to advance the Clarity Act, which aims to provide clearer rules around whether crypto assets are treated as securities or commodities. Clearer regulation could potentially encourage greater institutional participation. However, the legislation is not guaranteed to pass, so I would treat this as potential catalyst, not a confirmed bullish factor. Now let's move to the 4-hour chart. Here, the bullish structure is much clearer. Bitcoin is making a sequence of higher highs and higher lows. We can also see strong impulsive bullish moves, which indicates that buyers currently have control on the 4-hour time frame. Now let's identify our key support zone. The nearest support area I am watching is 68,475 level to 69,737 level. Now let's analyze the S&P 500 chart and combine it with our fundamental picture. Starting with the daily chart, price is making a sequence of higher highs and higher lows. This indicates a clear bullish market structure. So on the daily time frame, trend is bullish. Now let's move on to the 4-hour chart. Here we can see an even strong bullish structure. Price is making higher highs and higher lows with strong impulsive upward moves. However, after that strong rally, price has now entered a correction phase, and this is important. A correction doesn't automatically mean the trend has turned bearish. As long as the bullish market structure remains intact, this can simply be a pullback within the broader uptrend. Now let's identify the key level I am watching. The nearest support zone is 7526 to 7563 level. This is the area where I want to see how buyers react if price continues correcting.